How do you measure happiness and pleasure? Let me take one guess. You base it off success. How do you measure happiness and pleasure? Should be something you feel. Oh, it's got to be real. When you decide to let fear, let it all disappear. It becomes so clear. Figure out your purpose. Oh, it's more than just the surface. Don't fall into persuasion. Oh, you got to have some patience. Oh, oh, oh. Figure out your purpose. Oh, it's more than just the surface. A journey of creation. Oh, oh, you got to have some patience when you decide to let fear, let it all
Hey Kensington, welcome to church. I'm Andrea Gibbs, the intern.
Hey Kensington, welcome to church. Hey, no, but for real, we are so glad that you have joined us this morning. It's so great to have everyone here, and for those of you that are watching online, we are so glad that you have joined us today. And so today is actually week 3 of our series called The Last Arrow. And throughout this series, we have been discovering what it means to live your life in a way that you hold nothing back, that you're saving nothing, that you are living in a way that you're making every moment count. And I think that song opened it up so well for us today, because I think we all wanted to discover what is our purpose. Because when we discover what our purpose is in life, we can live a life that matters, that counts, where we don't hold anything back. And so we are so glad that you are here with us as we are going to be journeying through that today as well. Now, I do want to let you know of a couple things that are happening here around our Clinton Township campus specifically. We are partnering with the Warming Center once again to help provide shelter for those who are experiencing homelessness right here within our own community. Now, it does look a little different this year due to COVID. Normally, we would house the guests right here in our own facility, but to keep everyone safe, we are actually going to be doing that at a hotel, but we still need you. We need people to make this time a success by providing meals for them, gas cards, and some just different supplies. And so if you would be willing to jump in and be a part of that, you can go out to the lobby after service. There's a table. You can sign up, can find out more information there, or you can even go online to our website to find out. But truly, this is an incredible opportunity for us really to live out our mission of reaching the one by showing love to those who are around us. And so we hope that you will participate with that. I also want to let you know that this Wednesday, it is our first midweek here at CT for 2021. It's going to be an incredible night, so we would love for you to come be a part of that. Our team has been planning an awesome night. There's going to be some great music and worship, plus our interim executive lead pastor of Kensington, Danny Cox, is going to be here with us. So it's going to be a wonderful time, and we truly hope that you will join us either here in person or online for it. You're not going to want to miss. But that's not the only thing happening around Kensington. There's a lot of things happening in places where you can jump in and find community and get connected. So let's take a moment and watch this video.
Hey Kensington, welcome to church. I'm Andrea Gibbs, the internship director here with my friend Nat Bergeron. She's an intern with guest services at Clinton Township.
What's up, Kensington? So happy to be with you all watching online and in person. We're already in the 3rd week in the Last Arrow series, and we are praying that God will speak directly to your hearts today.
Absolutely. Today is all about that tendency to allow our past successes or shame define or limit our future.
Oh yes, we've all been there. But God calls us to follow him in a new future, regardless of our past.
Hey, speaking of a new future, you think we have any future interns watching today, Nat?
Oh, absolutely. I remember just a few short months ago when I was considering the internship program, and my friend Faith told me about how surrendering to God and his nudge completely transformed her life in 10 months.
I love that. That's how it all starts. Responding on that nudge and stepping into the next adventure of education, equipment, and empowerment. That's what happens in our Total Immersion 10-month internship. Both part-time and full-time internships offer leadership development, a hands-on approach to day-to-day operations, classroom instruction, and mentorship from staff. Natalie, other than the wonderful internship director that you get to work with, what's been the most valuable part of this experience for you so far?
Yeah, I would say the most valuable thing is how the Lord has really taken my passions for reaching our community and showed me creative and unique ways to actually live out those dreams and my passions.
Our program is ideal for young adults like Nat, career changers, and those preparing for ministry. Applications just opened up, so you can read more and apply today at kensingtonchurch.org/interns.
And if the internship program isn't for you, we have plenty of other opportunities for you to jump into community here at Kensington.
Courses and groups with both virtual and in-person offerings kick off this month. Explore your faith in Alpha, learn how to manage your money through Financial Peace University, get curious about the Bible and Bible basics, or strengthen your marriage in the marriage course.
The best part about these groups is meeting new people and finding a community of people who are on the same faith journey.
We truly believe that change happens in community. You can join a small group that meets virtually or in person. Just head to the website and filter through the options available. There's a group for everyone. Head to kensingtonchurch.org/groups to learn more.
All right, Andrea, I think it's time to get back to the rest of service. Today we're looking back at the life and legacy of a courageous hero who inspired millions of people to right a historical wrong.
Martin Luther King dedicated his life to love and to justice between fellow human beings. He died in the cause of that effort. In this difficult day, in this difficult time for the United States, it's perhaps well to ask what kind of a nation we are and what direction we want to move in.
When you come to the point that you look in the face of every man and see deep down within him what religion calls the image of God, you begin to love him in spite of. No matter what he does, you see God's image there.
When the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure. We will be sure. Oh, glory. Oh, glory. Oh, glory.
I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, and every hill and mountain shall be made low. The rough places will be made plain, and the crooked places will be made straight. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. This is our hope. This is a faith that I go back to the South with.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, glory.
Glory.
Yeah.
Glory.
I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land.
Now the war is not over. Victory isn't won. And we'll fight on to the finish. When it's all done, we'll fly glory. Glory. Glory.
I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
Now the war is not over. Victory isn't won. We'll fight on to the finish, and when it's all done, we'll shout the glory. Oh, glory. Glory. Oh, glory. Hey, hey.
Let freedom ring, and when this happens, when we allow freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
It will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, one day when the war is won, we will be sure. We will be sure.
Martin Luther King Jr., he fought for justice, for love, for peace for all people. That we'd have a future, and it wouldn't matter your race, if you're a man or a woman, your economic status, but a future that would be different. He lived his life as if it was the last arrow. And he did it through love. In a few of the addresses that he gave, he actually said that it was because of agape love. And agape love is selfless, it's sacrificial, it's unconditional love. It's God's love for us. And just like that song said, that the war is not over. We still have some work to do, don't we? And I want to continue to fight for a future of justice and peace and love. And there's a beautiful line in a prayer that Martin Luther King gave. He said that somehow we will discover that we are made to live together. That we are made to live together as brothers and sisters. And I hope that that is our prayer still today. So let's take a moment. Will you pray with me? God, I just pray that we would become people who continually fight for the love and for the justice for all people. That your love, your agape love, would lead us, Jesus. And that we would live our lives for others as you have lived your life for us, Jesus. I pray that we would be your love to the world around us, Jesus. And that we would not give up when it's hard, when it doesn't make sense, when it feels like we're losing the battle, God. I pray that we would have the tenacity to continue to fight. That we would be people to reach others, reach the one for you, Jesus. We love you, God, in your precious and holy name. Amen. And I really do hope that becomes not just a prayer that we pray, but that the way we would live our lives. Now, at this time, I do want to take a moment, and we are going to receive our offering this morning. And so if you came prepared to do that physically, you can actually do that on the way out of the auditorium. We have some buckets available. Otherwise, we have different ways you can give. You can give through our app. You can go to our website. You can even text the word Kensington to 77977, or you can even mail in a check. If you guys remember what those are. Some of you, yeah, we still got some of those. And then no matter what, we do want to say thank you so much for just being on mission with us and just for your faithful giving with us. And so I don't know about you, but as I've been within the series of The Last Arrow, it kind of has me reflecting on my own life, right? Am I living my life in a way that I'm making it count, that I'm not holding anything back? And so I'm sure like you, there's probably been moments you would say that, yes, I've totally done that. It's been an amazing time in my life. But we all probably have some moments that we're like, yeah, that wasn't the greatest, right? There's some loss, there's some regret, and then kind of probably feels more like maybe just mediocre at times, right? And so if we really want to live our life as if it's the last arrow, that probably means we need to start looking ahead to how we can do that in our future. How do we do that? Now, here's the thing. The future is, well, Choose the Future is actually the title of the message today. And it's coming. Whether you choose the future or not, the future is coming. So the question then is, how can we choose our future? Now, there's a lot of different choices that we have in life, right? It's estimated that the average adult makes roughly around 35,000 remotely conscious choices every single day. That's a lot of choices, okay? So that's everything from like, what time should I get up in the morning? Do I hit snooze, right? Do I shower today, or is it extra deodorant and dry shampoo? Very important choices, okay? You know, you're choosing what should I wear today? Pandemic has made that a little easier for some of us. It's more like which sweatpants, right? Am I gonna rock my gray ones or my blue ones? We have choices of like, what am I gonna eat? What am I doing throughout the day? How am I spending my free time? You know, am I choosing to read a book? Do I wanna choose to play some video games? Am I choosing to watch something on TV? And then we have choices. Is it Netflix? Is it Amazon Prime? Is it Hulu or some other new streaming app? There are all these choices that are all around us. Now, I think some of us, though, find it really easy to make choices. Like if you're given a couple options, like you just know what you want. Who kind of falls into that camp? You're like, if I have an option, I will know. I can make a decision. Then there's some of us, which, you know, we're a little more indecisive. Take some time. We have to process it. Who would say that? That is totally me. I am a processor. Give me lots of time to think about it, right? And if you're watching online, we'd love to hear from you. So please let us know in the comments where you fall. It'd be great to hear from you. But there are definitely, as much as I'm a processor, there are two things in life that I am terrible at making decisions. Like it is my biggest weakness. One, choosing what movie to watch. And two, what restaurant to eat at. Now, this has like plagued my marriage for all the years, okay? This is terrible. So my husband will say something like, well, where do you want to eat? And of course now it's carry out because things of COVID have changed everything. And so I'll be like, oh, it doesn't matter, babe. Whatever you would like, I'm cool with it. And he'll be like, okay. Why don't we get some Chinese? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm feeling Chinese, right? Like, I gotta feel it. And I'll be like, okay, whatever. Burgers. Yeah. But then I'll do like cheeseburger, mushroom Swiss. Chinese though, right? I don't know about burgers. And he's like, fine, Italian. And I'm like, okay, well, we all like Italian in my house. Yeah, that's good. Oh, but I don't know. I mean, we had pasta the other night. Do I really want that? And then, have you ever felt the frustration coming off of someone? Or you can feel it, right? And I can start to feel it. So I'm like, okay, seriously, babe, it doesn't matter. Like, whatever you want, I'm totally cool with. I'm not feeling anything, so you can choose. So then he'll just be like, fine, Mexican. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want Mexican, though. Right? And then he's like, come on, like, just choose something. So he's like, I'll make it easy. I will give you 3 options. And all you have to do is pick one of those. Like, you just have to pick one. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm cool. Sure, yeah, give me 3. So he'll give me 3, and then I'm like, I don't know. Can you give me 2 options, right? Like, it's awful, okay? Right? But at the end of the day, that doesn't have much weight, that choice of where we decide to eat. But we do have other choices in our lives that carry a lot more weight, you know? Like, how are you going to spend your money? Or what are you saving your money? How much? What does that look like? You have a choice of where you want to live. What's the choice of your career or job that you want? We have choices within our relationships and our friendships. Do you want to get married one day? Do you want to have kids? I mean, how do you want to retire? There's all these different choices. And really, you know, making good choices is a part of our survival because our life is created by our choices. So if we want to choose our future, I think it's really important. Otherwise, we are going to end up with a future that we never wanted. But I think without realizing, most of the time, we end up choosing our past instead of choosing our future. Now, I think there's a few different reasons why we choose our past. I think we choose our past just because it's what we know, right? Like, I know my past. I feel comfortable. It feels safe to me. So that's what I know. But I think there are some other reasons why we choose our past. I think sometimes we end up holding on to our past because it was so wonderful. I mean, we can all probably swap stories of some amazing times that we have had in our lives. And we're like, oh my gosh, it was the best. And we just want to relive those, right? The glory days. And I'm sure we've all seen probably that middle-aged guy who's still walking around wearing his Letterman jacket. And you're like, wow, oh, I think you are there, right? 5-minute conversation, he'll tell you, it was the best days of my life. 83 champs. And you're like, oh, yep, you were so living there. But it's because we loved it, right? We had an amazing time. It might have been the people you were with, whatever, but it was the best time of your life. And so we cherish those moments. Now, I'm sure some of you have something similar. I brought my trunk here today. I also have some tubs at my house. That I've kept some of the baby clothes from when my kids were babies and some of their school stuff throughout the years. I even have like a suitcase of my childhood stuff because we like to cherish things from our past, things that were wonderful and amazing. And so I have a couple things in here. And so some of it is simply like we might have some pictures, right, of the wonderful times of our life. Maybe it was your wedding day, or maybe it was a vacation that you went on or something with your family, but we hold on to this because it was so good. And we kind of want to relive the memories and the moments of this, right? So there's these moments that we love. Then we also have the times where we had success. Maybe you were the champs in '83. Or you were on a winning volleyball team, or back in the day you played soccer. Maybe you play in a rec league now, right? Or maybe at work you got Employee of the Month, Employee of the Year. I don't know if they still give plaques out for that, but you have something that says, look, I was the best. Look at what I succeeded at. Man, this is my achievement, and I'm holding on to this, right? This was the best time of my life. Look how hard I worked, and look what I got. Now, sometimes our success comes in different ways. So you might get a trophy or a medal, but sometimes it comes through maybe a diploma, a certificate. You went back to school, right? You got your PhD. You did something. You go, here is the proof of my success. This is my achievement, my hard work. Sometimes we'll buy something because we worked hard. We finally got to that point in our life where I feel successful. I can go get that new car, right? We almost become obsessed with it. I know a huge part of my own life was I was very successful at playing a certain instrument. And so music was really, really important. So I was good at this, and then people notice, and you're like, oh, that kind of feels good, right? I was the best at this, and it's part of this group, and it feels good to be successful, okay? We don't have to pretend it doesn't. Like, it really does. You're like, oh, yeah. You're seen, you're noticed. You feel like you have value because, man, look at the success. And some of it takes a long time, and you're like, look how awesome I did. So the idea to leave this is like, I don't know, because that's pretty good. But I think sometimes we have a hard time letting go because sometimes I think we hide behind our success. Because if I step away from where I've had all the success and the achievement, what if I don't experience that again? What if it's not as good? What if it's not as amazing? What if that was literally the peak of my life and it's just downhill from there? And many times when we become obsessed with our success, it also becomes kind of who we are. So if I am to step into a different future and it's unknown, not only am I going to kind of question like, well, what's next, but who am I then? Who am I without the success? Now, there's a guy in the New Testament, and his name is Paul, and he actually writes a lot of it and goes on to be one of the most influential people, we're talking about him today, okay? But he was originally known as Saul. And as Saul, he was very successful. He had an education. He had a Pharisee background. He had Roman citizenship. He was the man, okay? And not only that, but at the time, he was actually one of the biggest antagonists against the Jesus followers, which gave him even more status. It was like, oh, look, there's Saul. Oh, yeah. Right? Like, he was Saul. Well, he ends up having this encounter with God, and it completely flips his life upside down, right? He went from Saul to Paul. Like, it changed his name and everything. And he goes on, obviously, to become one of the most amazing people that we're still talking about him, right? He was passionate about Jesus' message of love and hope and the good news. But in one of his letters, he reflects back on some of his past success. And this is what he says, and we pick this up in the book of Philippians. This is in chapter 3. He says, I once thought that these things were valuable. I once thought that my success, the achievements, my status was valuable. But now I consider them worthless because of what Christ has done. Yes, everything else is worthless when compared with the infinite value of knowing Christ Jesus my Lord. For his sake, I have discarded everything else, counting it all as garbage, so that I could gain Christ and become one with him. I don't mean to say that I've already achieved these things or that I have already reached perfection. but I press on to possess the perfection for which Christ Jesus first possessed me. No, dear brothers and sisters, I have not achieved it, but I focus on this one thing, forgetting the past and looking forward to what lies ahead. I press on to reach the end of the race and receive the heavenly prize for which God, through Christ Jesus, is calling us. So he takes this time to reflect on his past and the success that he says, and he goes, it's a loss. It's just garbage. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want someone telling me that all the successes that I've had in my life, the things that I've worked really hard for, some of the things that I poured every ounce of who I am into, blood, sweat, and tears, things that took maybe months, years to feel like you finally reach that status. I don't want to hear that it's just a bunch of garbage, that it's a loss. But Paul isn't saying that it didn't matter. Because I think the things that we do and the accomplishments in our life, they do matter. I truly believe as a Christ follower that God gives you opportunities. He's given you gifts and He's talents and abilities, and He gives you moments to use them and opportunities for that. So it's not that He's saying it didn't matter, but He's saying, you know what? Compared to what God has for you in the future, it's a loss. It's more like a warning. He's saying, be cautious. Don't just hang out in the past. Don't just hold on to your success, because compared to that, what God has in the future, all of that is just garbage. It's going to be a loss, because unfortunately, the risk is that if we continue to hold on to our past, we're going to miss out on things that could be far greater for us in our future. He says to forget that. Look ahead to what lies ahead. Focus on the future. Now, sometimes I think we hold on to the past because it was so wonderful, because that's where we met God. It's where we had an encounter with Him. And maybe it was, at a church service, a small group, a retreat, or something. But it was this experience that you met God. And you remember it, right? Like you can picture everything about it, the environment, the people, the music, and it's so amazing to you. And you just want to live in that. You want to live in the feeling of that experience again. And so we hold on to it, right? And we'll even say things like, man, church just isn't the same as it was 5 years ago. Or the music used to be good because that's when I experienced God. And I get it, right? I have had some God moments in my life that, honestly, they have left me speechless. They have been beautiful. And I have experienced Jesus in ways that have honestly changed my life. But here's the thing. Though you met God in the past, that is not where you're going to meet Him tomorrow. The only place where you and I will actually meet God tomorrow is in the future. So we need to learn how to let go. So yes, our success, the God moments, and the amazing times can be one of the reasons that we end up choosing the past instead of choosing the future. But I also think sometimes we end up choosing the past because it was so painful. And maybe it's not so much that we're holding on to it, but maybe that it's holding on to us. And sometimes it's painful for a couple of reasons. And it can be painful because of the choices we have made. Because let's be honest, we have not all made the best choices in life, right? There's things we are not all proud of, and that's okay. Now, some of the choices we've made in our life, it's been small and insignificant, but they're still painful, right? It's kind of like your 7th grade school photo. That hairstyle you were wearing, it's not always good. Now, you might be like, oh, mine's worse. Could be, but I just want to point out a couple things there. This is the natural state of my hair, but for some reason, I thought getting a perm the day before school pictures was the best choice. And my bangs, well, yeah, I think that's pretty high. And the hat, you could be like, oh, wow, you were really fashion forward. No, that's all thanks to the TV show Blossom. So that was 7th grade. And sometimes these little choices that we make, you're kind of like, ugh, but we don't learn from them, right? And it can continue. And we continue to not make good choices. You guys, I chose a mullet. I don't know if I knew it was a mullet, but I chose that. That wasn't like my mom was like, here's your haircut, it's first grade. No, that was my junior year of high school. I showed this picture to my husband, and he goes, you look like you're from The Hobbit. And I was like, pain, right? Right here, pain, okay? But obviously in the long run of things, that is not too painful, other than looking through my yearbook photos this week. I was like, oh boy, right? But there are other choices in our life that are bigger, and the consequences are bigger. And so the pain is deeper. Because when we make a choice, it usually leads to another choice, which leads to another choice, which leads to another choice. And by the time it feels like you can actually catch your breath and you look around at your life, it just feels like it's a mess. And there's pain, there's brokenness, there's failure. And then because these are the choices you've made, now you feel ashamed of it because how did I get here? I am so embarrassed. What have I done? But because you think that, you continued in that because how do I move past that? And becomes this cycle of making a wrong choice, which brings pain and failure and shame, and it just keeps going on. And all of a sudden, you're trapped by your own wrong choices that are causing the pain in your life. And we don't know how to move past it. But sometimes we're holding on to the past, and it's the pain that others have caused in your life. And it wasn't anything that you could have done to change it, prevent it. It happened. But it's like their life just crashed into yours, right? And just left you shattered. And you're broken. And as strange as it sounds, somehow now, you just stay here. You're staying in the past where you're broken and shattered. And as much as you kind of would like to move on, you're not too sure how. Because I guess this is who I am now. I'm just broken. I'm damaged. A few years ago, someone that was very important in my life was someone very influential and someone I really respected deeply hurt me. So much so that I really don't recall another time in my life where I felt so raw and numb from emotional pain. I mean, it just wrecked me. Within a few days of everything happening, my family and I, we were actually off to my in-laws, which is out of state. And to this day, I still don't know how I got there. I mean, I know we flew, but I don't know. There was like nothing in me. I just remember that I somehow, at my in-laws, ended up on the couch. And it was more like I just sunk in, right? There was nothing. I mean, my coat was on, zipped up, hood, hat, and I was there for hours. I did not move. I did not say anything. I didn't talk. The chaos of family and all the things are happening around me, and there was nothing in me. To say that I was a shell of a person probably gave it more credit because I have never been so emotionally and physically drained because of pain that I was experiencing in my heart. And the thing is, the longer that we stay in pain, whether it's because of choices you have made or something that has happened to your life, it becomes kind of normal. It's not that you like it, but it's what you know now. And honestly, to choose a different future, I don't know, because I don't know if I want to risk getting hurt again. So I'd rather stay in the past. It feels safer to me. But we can choose a different future. We can make a choice for it to be different. Now, this isn't like all of a sudden one day you're just like, it's going to be awesome now. All right, here we go to my future, right? It's not anything like that. And some of the pain that we experience could take months and it could take years. But it's a choice where you have to go, do I want a different future? Do I want a future that's free from that pain of my past? And I had to come to that point. And it wasn't instantly. No. But I had to decide, what was I going to do? Did I want a different future? And for me, that meant choosing forgiveness. But it was not like within a few days. It was months, even years. Did I want to choose forgiveness when I didn't feel like it? When it felt undeserved? When it felt too painful? Even to this day, there'll be moments where I'm good, right? I can go like almost months, and all of a sudden it's like I get slapped in the face, and I'm brought right back here, right? To the pain, to the anger, to the bitterness. And then once again, I have to choose, what kind of future do I want? I want a future that's different. So I have to make that choice. But here's the thing, as a Christ follower, we don't have to do it alone. It's not about me making it happen and making it disappear and making it feel better. Because when we choose Christ, he steps in. It says in Psalm 147 that he heals the brokenhearted. He bandages their wounds. I love the Passion Translation because it says that he heals the wound of every shattered heart. Choosing our future and choosing it to be different than our past means choosing to trust Christ with the pain in our life. And it's not easy, I'm not going to lie. That's not an easy thing. But when we choose him, it's choosing that we trust him to bring about wholeness and healing, choosing him to bring grace and mercy and forgiveness when it doesn't feel right, when it's undeserved, when it feels like it's more of a mess, but it's saying, I'm going to choose this for my future because I do want to live my life like it's going to count and it's going to matter and I'm going to give everything. So I'm going to choose that because your future is not supposed to be an extension of your past. But unless you choose a different future, you're just going to end up living a recycled life. It's just going to be the old stuff and there's not going to be anything new. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if your life has been beautiful and successful and you've had these wonderful moments, or it feels like it's more full of pain and that it's brokenness, or somewhere the mix of it all. Because Paul said, all of it doesn't matter what is here, all of it is a loss compared to what God has for you in the future if you choose him. Man, Ephesians 3:20 says this so beautifully. It says, never doubt God's mighty power to work in you and accomplish all this, right? This isn't us, this is with him. So don't doubt that God can do this. He will achieve infinitely more than your greatest request, your most unbelievable dream, and exceed your wildest imagination. He will outdo them all, for his miraculous power constantly energizes you. He wants to do more than your biggest, wildest dream. Come on. Like, who doesn't want a future like that? That's how I want to live my life. And I think we'd all go, yeah, I'm going to do that, live to the last arrow. But I think most of us, though, whether we realize it or not, are going to just go, well, okay. We're going to leave the auditorium or turn off the stream, and we're just going to go back to life. I mean, this is what I know. This feels easier, let's be honest. Sometimes it's a lot of hard work to choose something different. But here's the thing. If I stay here on my knees for about 15 minutes, I'm not going to be able to get up. My legs are going to go numb, right? And I can adjust myself and be like, okay, cool, we'll find a different position. But the longer I stay here, it's actually probably going to get worse, right? It's going to get really uncomfortable. And actually, the longer that I'm here, probably the more painful this is going to be. Because we're not meant to live here. This is not where we're meant to live. But we have to choose, am I going to do it differently? Am I going to choose to step out and choose a future that's different? Because some of us, we probably need to go home after service today and we need to choose to do things differently. We might need to realign some things in our life. We might need to talk to our spouse or someone and say, how can I actually do things differently? But the most important thing, beyond actually what you will do if you want to choose a different future, is this right here. It starts and ends with your heart. Proverbs 4:23 says, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Everything you do. So every little choice that you make in your life flows from your heart. This is a choice of your heart. So what is the priority of your heart? What is the priority of your life? Is it Christ? Is Christ the priority? Is he the focus? Because if so, then we can choose a future that he has for you, but it's a choice that we have to make with our heart. And the verse says to guard your heart, and that's simply because if you don't guard it, you're opening up your heart to anything and everything. And that's usually when it gets messy. So let's put up some guardrails, let's put up some boundaries so that we can allow God, if we choose him to be the priority of our heart and life, that he can lead us. Like he will be our guide. He will show us what steps to take for the future that he has for us. There's a beautiful line in a song that our team's going to sing here shortly, and it says, your word will align my voyage, that he will actually direct the journey when we choose him as a priority, when we choose him as our future. It says, and remind me where I've been and where I'm going. Because yes, we all have a past, right? We all do, but what are we choosing to be our future? Because in 2 Corinthians it says that if anyone who belongs to Christ has become a new person, the old life is gone. A new life has begun. The old life is gone when we choose Christ as a priority of our heart. It's gone. We have been created new, but it's a choice that we have to make. So what choice are you going to make? What future are you choosing? Are you going to choose to trust in his promises? Are you going to choose to trust him with your pain? For some of us, it might mean choosing Christ as a priority of our heart and life. Maybe for the very first time. Maybe that's nothing you've never really done before. Maybe for some of us, it's reevaluating and saying, you know what? I need to refocus my life on Christ. For some of us, it might be a choice to say, you know what? I think I need to get baptized. Because baptism is simply just an outward expression that you are a Christ follower. It's saying, to the best of my ability, I am going to live my life for Jesus. It's literally like a physical symbol of the old life is gone and that you have new life. The good news is, guys, we actually have a baptism coming up. And so if you've been considering that, make that choice. Sign up today. It's actually taking place on Saturday because we're wanting to do it safe with COVID and everything, but we are going to celebrate everyone's baptism at the end of this month. But maybe that's a choice that you need to make to say, the old life is gone and I have new life in Christ. Maybe it's a choice to jump into Celebrate Recovery, which is a safe place that offers hope for the habits and the hang-ups and the hurts of our life. Maybe it's a choice to jump into a group or a course that you can get yourself connected with community that is choosing the same kind of future. Maybe it's a choice to begin a journey of healing from your past. A choice to step into forgiveness, as difficult as it may be. No matter what the choice is for you, I think a prayer that has been our focus this series really sums it up so well. And it says that Jesus, cultivate my heart to care about the things you care about and let go of the things you don't. Because when we choose Christ as a priority of our heart, all of this doesn't matter. We're focusing our heart on what lies ahead. Now here's the thing. Whatever choice you make might feel awkward. It might feel kind of foreign. It might even feel really uncomfortable. Because usually stepping into something new or unfamiliar, it does. But will you decide to leave the comforts of what you know for the possibility of the unknown, of a future where you're choosing Christ as a priority. Man, and on a weekend that we celebrate Martin Luther King Jr., he left the comforts of what he knew to fight for a future, an unknown future for all. So what will you choose? Will you choose to say, you know what, I don't care what history says. The past is the past. I have been created for the new. It's up to you. You get to choose your future. Will you pray with me? God, I pray that we would choose you. I pray that we would continually be learning and on a journey of what it means to choose you for our future, Jesus. And that in that we can choose and learn how to trust you with the pain of our past and trust in the goodness of your promises, that you are such a faithful God. And when life doesn't go well, because there's going to be moments it doesn't, things will happen. It gets hard and it's difficult and it can be really painful, but I pray that we would continue to choose you at all costs. May our heart always choose you, Jesus, and trust you to guide us and lead us on the journey, and to trust in the promises that you are a faithful God. In your name, amen.
Through waters uncharted, my soul will embark. I'll follow your voice straight into the dark. And if from the course you intend I depart, speak to the sails of my wandering heart. Like the wind you guide, clear the skies before me, and I'll glide this open sea. Like the stars, your will align my voyage and remind me where I've been and where I am going.
God of Abraham, you're the God of covenant and faithful promises. Time and time again, you have proven you do just what you say. Though the storms may come and the winds may blow, I'll remain steadfast and let my heart learn when you speak a word, it will come to pass. Great is your faithfulness to me. Great is your faithfulness to me. From the rising sun to the setting, same I will praise your name. age to age, though the earth will pass away, you'll remain the same. And history can prove there's nothing you can't do, so faithful and true. Though the storms may come and the winds may blow, I remain steadfast. And let my heart learn, when you speak a word, it will come to pass. Great is your faithfulness to me. Great is your faithfulness to me. From the rising sun to the setting sun, I will praise your name. Great is your faithfulness to me.
Your faithfulness never runs dry, never runs dry. I'll put my faith in Jesus, my anchor to the ground, my hope and firm foundation. He'll never let me down. I'll put my faith in Jesus, my anchor to the ground, my hope and firm foundation. He'll never let me down. I'll put my faith in Jesus, my anchor to the ground, my hope and firm foundation. He'll never let me down. I'll put my faith in Jesus, my anchor to the ground, my hope and firm foundation. Let me down, 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 he'll never let me down, he'll never let me down. Great is your faithfulness to me. Great is your faithfulness to me. From the rising sun to the setting sun, I will praise your name. From the rising sun to the setting sun, I will praise your name. From the rising sun to the setting sun, I will praise your name. Great is your faithfulness. Great is your faithfulness to me.
Is your faithfulness to me. Great is your faithfulness to me. From the rising sun to the setting sun, I will praise your name. Great is your faithfulness to me.
When we choose Christ as a priority of our life for the now and for the future, we can trust in his promises. We can trust in his faithfulness and his goodness for you, that he will not leave you, he will not forsake you. He is a good, good God. And we can trust in him. And he has a future for you. You can trust in that. It doesn't always make sense. Sometimes it feels almost the opposite of what you would think, and your emotions might be all over the place, and it could get hard and difficult. But he does have a future for you that is good, because he is a good, good God. So it's a choice. Are we going to choose to trust him with our future so that we can live our lives holding nothing back? I want to let you know that our prayer team is available. They're out in the lobby, so if you'd like to speak with someone and pray with them, they are there for you. Otherwise, we hope that you will join us back here on Wednesday night for midweek. It's going to be an incredible night. We're so looking forward to it. Otherwise, have a great week. Go choose your future. Goodbye.